G'day, this is Fletch, your presenter of the TV show Classic Restos. It's the show where it's your chance to see completed restorations being shown, driven and enjoyed.
Hello and welcome to these special episodes of Classic Restos. Of course not possible without the continued support of my major sponsors. Now you might be asking, why do you keep on mentioning the major sponsors at the top and tail of every show? Well, it's pretty simple. Without the support of major sponsors, Classic Restos cannot continue. But apart from that, it's how they can help you as well. They're good people to deal with, and you can find out more about them when you visit classicrestos.com.au. Go to the homepage, click on their logos, and you can be diverted directly to their websites. Oh, have a go at this. When it comes to car events, it doesn't get much better. In 2011, I travelled to Pennsylvania in the United States of America for Chrysler's at Carlisle. Now, I don't know what I did, but I must have done something right, because they've got me back now for Fords at Carlisle. There's no doubt about it. It's not even worth an argument. If you've got the blue blood pumping through your veins, well then Ford at Carlisle is one of the best and biggest worldly events that you could ever attend. And this year in 2012 is a little extra special because it marks the passing of the late Carroll Shelby. Carroll Shelby, what do you say about the guy? He's the greatest icon to have gone down into the history books to influence our hobby, even if you weren't a Ford guy. The father of performance, Carroll Shelby, a true legend. And it's nice also that for his namesake, it will be taking centre stage this weekend here at Carlisle, as it marks a milestone. 50 years of Shelby in America. Have a go at this. Almost 3,000 of Henry's finest products spread over a magnificent 150 splendid acres. Can you believe this? If you're into your Shelby Mustangs, hang on to your seats for this one, because in a few moments from now, just over the hill there through Gate 5, there's going to be a procession, a grand entrance of Shelby Mustangs. Around 400 will arrive and come right through this intersection, pass straight through here in tribute to the late Carroll Shelby. Okay, we've got Ron on the show now. How are you, Ron?
I'm doing fine, Fletch. Glad to meet you.
Likewise. It's lovely to meet you too.
Yes, I'm glad I came here.
Where have you travelled from?
We came from Maryland, Falston, Maryland. It takes about 2.5 hours.
Easy driving in this Comet, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah, it's really good. Yeah. It's just getting broken in, really.
Have a go at it. Oh, I love it. 1963, Ron?
63, and they call it a half because of the roof line.
What was the condition of the car when you got it? Have you done a full restoration? Tell us the deal there.
No, that's the interior's original. Now, I took it all apart and had it repainted because it had one repaint, and it was getting a little thin, like the back of my head. You know how it starts to show through a little bit? So we did that, and when we did that, we pulled the engine, and it's the original engine in the 4-speed, but I had it bored 60 over, got a 302 crank and rods, stroked it, got a comp cam with the roller rockers and roller lifters.
Is it a 260 block?
Yes, it's 260. It's original 260 block.
This is what I love about it. The matching numbers cars over here, it's as though they grow on trees in the US. The interior you mentioned as well being original, just a bit faded. It's untouched from 63.
Right, yeah. You can see that's faded on where the sun hits the driver's thing. Yeah. When you flip up the seats, you can see where the piping was ripped a little bit on both sides, but I'm not going to change it.
See, that's the honesty of the car. There's nothing covered up here. I mean, this is the real deal.
Yeah, the pieces are missing. It's there. but all the stainless is all original, all the chrome. Now, I did get a new front bumper because, believe it or not, it was owned by a little old lady. It only had 47,000 miles, 803 put on there. And she kind of dinged the right side up there. But I still, every piece that I took off of this car, I have at my house. It came through with air conditioning. I have it with the knee knocker, and I took that off. But that's in my shed, all saved together.
I can't knock you for having some pieces missing, because I know some people that have got some pieces missing.
Yeah, there's a few people. I probably have a few pieces missing too.
Mate, lovely catching up with you. But before we go, Ron, tell us your thoughts on Carlisle for 2012 so far.
Oh, it's great. It's absolutely great. It's the best thing for Ford people.
The epitome, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's the holy grail of car show.
Lovely talking to you, Ron.
Nice, Fletch.
A lot of our great Aussie classic cars were based from designs here in the United States of America, and this Falcon here fits the mould perfectly. Now, this particular car is even a little rare now in the United States of America, being a four-door Futura. Now, the equivalent car in Australia was the XR XT Falcon. Apart from some subtle grille changes and some interior trim changes, these cars were technically the same car that we received in Australia. When these cars were new, they were marketed as Mustang bred. They had some fantastic runs on the board for the duration of the time the Falcon was made. A lot of early attributes and collective designs went together to bring us this car down under, and it made the Ford Falcon the mighty car in Australia that it truly was.
Hi, I'm Karen, and you're watching Fletch at All Ford Nationals at Carlisle. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break.
This event is so big that, would you believe, they've given me my own buggy to cruise around in for the weekend. It's absolutely amazing here, Ford's at Carlisle. Be careful. Always keep your wits about you so you don't do anything stupid. Getting around Carlisle events, you find the most amazing people. Away from all the action, in a shed, we've got this guy, Bill Miller. How are you, Bill?
I'm good, Fletch. How are you?
I'm wonderfully well. You know, the thing is, you don't realise how important this man is, because Bill is the founder of Carlisle Events. They're after you, Bill.
Hey, I'll tell you what, the police are here already.
Now, Bill, on a day such as this, I thought you'd be outside there with the action, but I find you here on your own in a shed. It's like as though you've just escaped. You're polishing this beautiful Ford. What's the deal?
You know, Fletch, we've got such a good team that I can get away with doing these kind of things. This is the best part of Ford's at Carlisle. I can be in here playing with my car while they're all out there keeping the show together. Yeah.
That's the thing. You have got a great team, from Rick all the way down with Mike and Ed, and the list goes on and on and on. This guy's he's got more guys under him than an undertaker.
Well, let's hope that's the way it stays too, right?
Now, Bill, just quickly, when did you start Carlisle Events?
You know, we started in 1974, Fletch. This is our 39th season that we're doing the shows. Now, a lot of the events, started at different times. We started with one event in 1974, and then 1977 we had the second event, and it's been up to a dozen after that since then.
Did you ever think it would get to the scale that it is today?
You know, we had the opportunity to buy the fairgrounds in 1981. At that time, 6 years into the business, 7 years into the business, we start to realize that it was a business. We had started it just for fun, but it turned into a business. And when we got to buy the fairgrounds, then we went at it full blast. The cars are really just a medium to get us all together with like minds and like ideas and like thoughts. And, we've met so many friends over the hobby over the years. It's just like yourself. Yeah. Just happy to have you here with us, and really proud that you come all the way from Australia to Carlisle.
Well, it means a lot to me. Now, Bill, I'm not just going to let you go that easily. You've got to tell me quickly about this Lincoln here. Now, how long have you had it? Where did you find it? This is a glorious car. Have a look at this. It's original, has never been restored. What's the deal here on this one, Bill?
I'd really like to find a history on this car, Fletch. This car actually came from an RM car auction. I'm very particular about my cars. I only buy original cars. I don't buy anything that's restored because I want to see the way the factory built the car. I can go to a car auction most of the time and never see a car that I'd really like to have in my own personal collection. But when I find a car like this, you know, with 1955 still stickers on it, 1964 stickers from the school and everything, where it must have been a college professor's car or something.
It sure as heck wouldn't have been a student's car.
No, that's for darn sure. Not in that day and age, you know. It says Cornell University on it, so I'm sure it was probably a professor at the time that had the car. But, you know, when you look at a car like this with the original leather and the original paint, top even looks original on the car. It's just exciting to find a car like this, you know.
One interesting thing about this car too, it's low on the options. That's an interesting thing, but I think I know the reason why. Now this is a low option car, although a high-end car. And would it be true to say that when this car was purchased back in the day, that the person that bought it had no money left for options because options were expensive back then?
You know, my first new car was a 1963 Ford, 390 4-speed. There was a lot of things that I wanted to put on that car that I couldn't afford to put on it too. I did get power steering, which this car doesn't even have power steering, which is really unusual on a Lincoln.
Because back in the day, I mean, power windows was an option, power steering, air conditioning, power seat, that was all available, wasn't it?
Absolutely, and this car has automatic transmission, but that's it. You even had to buy hubcaps in those days, you know.
Talk about a time capsule and a step back in time. Well, Bill, you've been my longest interview so far, but it's so rightly deserved, and thank you so much for your time. I'm just so lucky I caught this guy in his shed here, just adjacent to the office here at Carlisle Events. How cool's that?
My pleasure. Good to have you here, Fletch.
Thanks, Bill. Moving through the Fords at Carlisle event for 2012. Now, it is a diverse show. I mean, sure, Classic Restos, we showcase our classic cars, but a show such as this gives you opportunity to try out some of the new stuff as well. Fred, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you, Fletch. How are you doing?
Good, thank you, mate. Great to catch up with you. Now, you're the business development manager?
Yes, in the Philadelphia region for Ford Motor Company.
Now, mate, tell us what's going on outside. We've got the witches' hats out there, new cars, going for a drive. What's the deal there?
Yeah, we have all the customers, a lot of loyal Ford fans here, and they're taking test drives. A little test drive around the track, get them into Ford vehicles, get them to see the Mustangs. We have Lincolns here as well, too.
It just gives them some basic idea of how they feel.
Yeah, there's a lot of little test track with some turns, and can't get that GT Mustang going too fast, though.
The 2012 models here on display?
Yes, we have some actually 2013s as well. We have a lot of vehicles that we went early into the model year. So 2013 Explorer, Edge, Flex. We have a lot of 13s in stock as well.
The Americans have always done that, haven't they? You've always been a year ahead of yourselves.
Well, sometimes they come out a little early in the season. It has to be in January, but they can make it a 13 model.
Now in here, is this the the latest range for Ford?
Yes, we have the latest range in here.
Fred, I love what's behind us here, this cutaway section here. 5.8 litre twin overhead cam V8. What a monster.
Yeah, it goes in the GT 500, the Shelby GT 500 with over 600 horsepower. I don't know what you would do with all that horsepower.
I know one thing, you guys have just always built stuff like that.
Yeah, we really like to be ahead of that, and the Mustang is the classic car for Ford Motor Company.
Good on you, Fred. Well, thanks for having time out talking to Fletch.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Fletch.
Actually, you don't know how lucky you are talking to me.
I don't know at all. You're right.
As you know, events, TV shows and stacks of other stuff can't happen without support of major sponsors. Now, Becky from Gumout, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Fletch. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, you guys play a very important part for Ford at Carlisle this year as major sponsor.
Yes, we are. We are actually the event sponsor for the entire Carlisle shows for this season.
All right, so what can you tell me about yourselves?
We're owned by a company called ITW Global Brands, which owns over 800 different companies. And we were formerly with Shell Oil Company. We're third largest acquisition, and we manufacture products like Gumout, Slick 50, and Black Magic.
So how long have you been with the company, Beck?
2 months.
2 months. Hey, you're in for the gold watch.
I am.
How cool is this? We're now in the drag racing fraternity of Fords at Carlisle. How you doing, Tony?
I'm doing fine, Fletch. How you doing?
I'm great. Look at this car. I just spotted you, honed in on this guy. Have a go at this. 1965 Gasser. Tell us the story. Now, you've built this car totally from scratch, right?
I found this thing on the side of the road. It was just, I mean, it was all there. You know, good car, no rust. That's what I liked about it.
Yep.
Hate digging out rust.
We talk about classic Restos.
Yeah.
This is what it's about.
That's what it's about. So, you know, it's been a project I've always wanted. You know, I've always wanted me a gasser. But the real project is about this motor right here. You know, I mean, I worked on that deal for about 5 years.
Okay, 427 cubes.
Yeah. It's, you know, I mean, them things pretty rare. And there was a gentleman in Atlanta that had 3 of these things. Good friend of mine now. Me and him actually became real good friends because of this deal. And, but I ended up, you know, when I really got started on this project, I went to him and told him, I said, look, man, what we're going to do? And he said, you know, it's kind of about stacking the money up, you know. We did that and came to an agreement, and so that's what we ended up with.
The workmanship here, the work that you've done to the front end, the whole car from back to front, it's just a beautiful job. You've done so well. And the lines of a 65, got to agree, it's just a beautiful car.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful. You know, it's just, they actually, Ford made 3 of these cars and gave them out. Hayden Profit, Donald Don Nicholson, and Arnie Beswick, I think, the 3 cars. And, you know, I just always wanted one, and I wanted one I could drive on the street, though.
What sort of horsepower are we looking at, and what's your times down the quarter mile?
Well, you know, I never really drove it down a quarter mile. I drove it, I built it to drive to shows and cruises. I built it to get on the street. People, man, you can't drive that thing on the street. It's street legal. So we drive it on the street. And that's what it's all about. But it's supposed to be 657 horsepower. That's what the 2.4 motors was. I wish I had $1 for every picture that's ever been took of it. You know?
Is this good or what? I mean, how long could I stand and talk to a guy like this? Tony, thanks so much for your time, buddy, and it's nice catching up with you.
Thank you, buddy. It's nice talking to you.
Now, drag racing a car is one thing, but drag racing a truck, that's something else. How you doing, Bill?
Not bad at all. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good, Bill. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Where the Sam Hill are you from?
Sydney, New South Wales, Australia.
Good golly, you made a wrong turn somewhere.
Left turn was wrong at Albuquerque.
I guess so.
But to make things even funnier, Bill, I've come here for the weekend.
Oh, and you got to go back? I do. Oh, geez. You have a passport?
Yeah,
Okay.
I hope so. Now, Bill, tell us about your truck. Now, you've had this since brand new, I'm led to believe.
That's right. It was brand new, but it was about midway through 63. I got a call from a friend of mine that was a parts man for Jack Whitby Ford in Wilmington. And he says, what are you doing tomorrow? And this was on Friday night. I goes, I don't know, milking cows, I guess. And he says, you want to go to Lime Rock? And I goes, I don't know, I guess. He says, well, I said, why? He says, I got to go pick up a truck. I said, okay, I'll go. So I went up there, and this is what we found.
So, okay, what's the deal with the engine? Tell us about that.
It's a 427 low riser, 427.
How did you go finding that? I asked Tony the same question up the other end with his 65. Did you have many dramas finding that engine?
No, because that's the way it came through. It came through with the 427 low riser in it.
So we're talking a factory original here.
That is right. It's a factory original.
How scarce would this be?
And the DSO number on the door is exactly the same as on the Fuel Funny cars down there.
So what sort of quarter mile times were you doing back in the 60s?
At that time, this would be 63, the super stocks were running 13.0s, sometimes a 13.1. And I was doing all right, and the super stock boys would let me run with them as long as I didn't beat them. And in Cecil County one night, I went 12.98, and the guys got mad and threw me out of the class.
A 1298. Back in the 60s, a factory truck from Ford. I tell you what, that's fast. That's a very quick road truck.
It is. It's very fast.
I mean, even in today's times, that's an incredible time.
I finally got it down into the 12.8s.
Look, it's been lovely talking to you, Bill. I could talk to you for ages as well. I could talk to everyone for ages. Look at him, the big smile. He's got lipstick on both ears from smiling so much. You're a classic.
Oh, thank you.
And I love your truck. I love the fact to think you've had it since brand new. You've preserved it all this time. You've driven it on the street. You've raced it, and you've still got it. Good on you.
It's titled in the state of Delaware also. The engineers called and said that it couldn't be titled. I says, I don't know about Michigan, but I do know in Delaware, if it's titled in your name and you got possession of it, it's yours.
I think you'll find it's yours, sir.
I hope so.
All right, you take care, Bill.
All right, and I'll see you later, Fletch. Come see us again.
Love to, and will be.
Okay.
Just a short drive from Carlisle here in Pennsylvania is a gorgeous village called Boiling Springs. The history here goes back to 1845, established by the Kaufman family on a piece of land, would you believe, of 48 acres in size. Boiling Springs is renowned for its gorgeous, endless supply of natural spring water, and that was also used to develop the ironworks back in the early days. Oh, and if you're wondering how the name of Boiling Springs originated for the name of the village, it was because back in the early times they used to use the spring water to power the blast furnace before any other form of energy was introduced. In fact, steam wasn't used until 1859 at the Carlisle Ironworks.
Here's how it used to work. The spring water used to force around the water wheel, which was connected to a large axle. Now, on that axle there were two cams, and those cams used to be attached to the bellows. Each time the cam went around, it used to raise and lower the bellow, forcing air through steel tubes into the blast furnace. The last iron was made in 1892, and the furnace was dismantled in 1894. As newer procedures to make iron superseded the charcoal method. Since these times, there's no longer been any industry as such. However, Boiling Springs has evolved from devoted and proud townspeople that have increased real estate developments, and they've promoted small business in the area as well.
Isn't the history of these little towns incredible? In fact, the history here at Boiling Springs even dates back further to 1737. You know, it's one thing to get around and see the finest of car events, but so too is travelling the regional areas of the United States of America. Thanks for watching Classic Restos. If you want to see your car on the show, go to classicrestos.com.au. In the meantime, drive safe, resto your ride and get it on the show.